guys, it's Brian. So today I'm back for another video having to do with spinal cord injuries and all the crazy things that go along with the spinal cord injury, all the stuff that we don't know how to do that we eventually figure out. This is one of those things. This is something that I figured out completely by accident about 6 weeks ago, and it blew my freaking mind. So I'm here to tell you about it. I don't hold back, so this is one of those topics that unfortunately or fortunately you're gonna have to hear about. So here's what happened. I was outside working on my deck. I recently had my deck completely redone, and I was putting lighting in for the railings. To do that, I had to crawl underneath the deck. Well, I say crawl, it wasn't really a crawl, it was more of a dragging myself on the rafters beneath the deck, but it worked, it was effective. So I am completely covered in dirt. I'm sweaty. I'd been out there for probably an hour. We had a birthday party to go to, so I knew I had to book it. I had to get a quick shower, I had to get dressed, had to get out the door to go. So I come inside, I strip off my clothes, go to jump in the shower, and what I usually do is I will turn the bathroom faucet on to run the hot water through the system. That way I don't have to sit in the shower in the freezing cold water. I'll already have hot water there. So I decided, you know what, screw it. I'm not even gonna do that this time just because I was already hot. I was like, I'm just gonna deal with the cold water and it'll be fine. It'll warm up eventually, right? So I hop in the shower and I grab the shower wand, kick on the water, and I start spraying water on the top of my head, and it's kind of like running down my back and on my chest, and it is freaking cold. Like, it is cold. But I didn't care. I was, getting all the dirt and all the sweat off my face. And then something weird happened. I started feeling tingles in my chest. I started getting spasticity in my stomach, but they weren't like normal spasms. Spasms are a side effect of a spinal cord injury that happen just automatically. But what I noticed was these spasms were more rhythmic. It was like kind of more of a pumping sensation in my stomach. And then my feet and legs start to spasm. Everything just starts shaking. My whole body starts shaking. And I'm paralyzed from the armpits down. So I can't physically move anything from the chest down unless spasms kick in. That's really the only thing that makes anything below my injury level move. So it was very strange. I'm having these spasms, but I didn't really know what was happening. And all of a sudden I just jerk, like my whole body just kind of jerks back. And I look down, I'm like, what the hell? I'm ejaculating. I am ejaculating in the shower randomly. Hadn't touched anything down there. Just running the cold water on my head caused me to ejaculate. And I'm like, what was that? Like, what the hell just happened? I was thinking that had to have been just a freak occurrence. So, water warms up, I tell my wife about it. I'm like, you will not believe what just happened to me in the shower. We go to the birthday party, and I'm sitting at home later that evening, and I'm like, that was the weirdest thing that's ever happened. P.S. Why didn't I know about that 10 years ago when I was trying to start my family? Because I had to go through a much more invasive method to ejaculate. I cannot ejaculate just by masturbation. I can't ejaculate through sex. The only thing I found that worked for me was a TENS machine. If anybody knows what a TENS machine is, it's got those sticky pads. They're like electrodes that you stick on your muscles and they stimulate the muscle. For me, I did that by sticking it on my penis, and for some reason that caused me to ejaculate. And that's been actually successful for quite a few paraplegics, and that's ultimately how I started my family. We used the collected semen to do in vitro fertilization, and that took many years. We had to go through several sessions to do it, but finally we got pregnant. I will say it was not pleasurable. You're essentially shocking your penis. And the other thing too is a lot of people think that because I'm paralyzed, I can't feel anything. Yes, I can't feel a direct connection to sensation below my chest level, but my body still responds to pain or responds to pleasure. What I get is more spasticity and just more tightness. It's weird because I can feel internal pressure in my body, but I can't feel the surface level. I don't know why. That's just the situation. So I'm a T1 complete paraplegic, which means anything from my armpits down, I can't feel or move. One of the questions people sometimes wonder is, can I get an erection? So yeah, I can. I get what's called reflex erections, essentially just stimulation of the penis, and it gets hard. I can no longer get the psychogenic erection, which is basically, thinking about something that turns you on. That doesn't actually work anymore because the connection between my brain and the T11 to L2 nerves in my back, that's what controls the psychogenic erections. Reflex erections are at the very base of the spine and the sacral area. Since that's still intact for me, that's why I can actually get a reflex erection. And what's crazy is I get them most often with water. So if I'm swimming or if I'm in the shower, I would say probably 50% of the time I'm taking a shower, I'm getting that reflex erection just based on the water, kind of hitting down there. And I will say that seems to help. What I've found is I can ejaculate regardless of the erection, but I tend to have an erection just based on where I'm at. So every spinal cord injury is different. So I don't know if this is something that could actually work for you, but I wanted to tell you about it because it blew my mind. So where the hell was this discovery 10 years ago when I'm shocking myself trying to get this out, and now I jump in the shower, take a cold shower, and it's like I get tingles in my chest. I'll get, my nipples will get hard. I'll get goosebumps. Those are all signs of stimulation below my level of injury. So in this situation with the shower, it was not a completely uncomfortable situation like I had with the TENS, where I was getting autonomic dysreflexia. That is a big word basically to say it's a huge spike in blood pressure. It's a side effect from somebody with a high spinal cord injury level. But what I noticed was that using this method did not give me those horrible side effects. So probably like 3 days after that happened, I was thinking that was a fluke. There's no way it's gonna happen again. But I had to take a shower and I'm like, let's just see if it works. Let's just give it a try. Sure enough, I'm talking maybe 30 seconds, 45 seconds of cold water on my head. It's happening again. It's coming out. And I'm like, what? So then it got me thinking this could be really useful for somebody that's paralyzed, that's trying to start a family. They aren't able to ejaculate through sex or through masturbation. So maybe you could just jump in a cold shower and give it a shot and see if it works. So what I found is this is actually something that's consistent, that will work consistently for me. The TENS machine, I'd say probably had a 60% chance. There were some times that I'd try to use it and it didn't work at all. I don't know if that's because I didn't abstain long enough, because I did figure out that, I'd have to wait maybe 4 days, 5 days between ejaculations to actually get it to work. But in this situation, it's more like, maybe after 3 days, it'll work. So this is not something I do every time I get in the shower, but I have been in kind of like an experimental mode where I wanted to figure out, okay, is it the water on my neck? Is it the water on my chest? So I've been trying different things, spraying it on my legs, spraying it on my stomach. And what I've found recently is it seems more like if I'm spraying it on my chest or on my stomach, that seems to trigger the same effect. And I don't get as much of the cold water, freeze feeling, because that's below my injury level. So I also wanted to experiment with collection. If somebody was at home and they wanted to try to inseminate at home, how are they going to collect this? You can't just ejaculate in a shower and figure that you're going to collect it in a cup. It's going to get water in it. So I put a condom on, and sure enough, that worked. I'm sure you could find other ways to collect it, or if your wife or girlfriend is up for it and they don't mind getting soaking wet, maybe they want to go have sex with you in the shower and see if it works. That would just be a direct deposit. It would get the job done, no problem. At this point, it's not like I'm using it because I already have an 8-year-old daughter. I'm about to turn 42. My wife and I do not need to have another kid. We're pretty much a one and done kind of situation. But at least this is something that, like I said, for me is consistently an option. It would happen pretty much every single time I try it. And yeah, I'm pissed. I did not know about this 10 years ago because I'm like, man, this could have saved me so much discomfort. This could have saved us more time. The TENS machine was a pain in the butt to set up. I will say that was, my last known method to be able to ejaculate. But yeah, it's nice to know I have other options. And it's nice to know that I can do it. It sounds stupid. So like, I know I can't feel it. So you think like, what's the point? It's kind of more of just a personal, like making my body do kind of what it was designed to do. Even though I'm not trying to impregnate anybody, or I'm not trying to masturbate, or I'm not trying to get off. It's more of just that like knowing that, okay, that happened. And it's weird because I actually feel more relaxed afterwards. Kind of like the old days when I would just, do that and have sex. And then you just lay there like, oh, that was great. You know what I'm talking about. So anyway, again, freak occurrence, maybe for me, it might just be that my body rewired itself really weird, kind of like an old car. Like you hit the brake lights and the freaking horn honks or something. I don't know. I'm just thinking that maybe this might work for somebody. I encourage you to try it, especially if you are trying to start a family, because this is honestly the easiest way that I've figured out that actually works for me. So weird. If you have any questions, let me know. As always, I'm here to answer them, even the weird questions. So I'll talk to you soon. See you later.